Welcome, everybody, to Dead Talk Live. And today we are honored to have with us Gus Birney, who is one of the stars of the new hit show on Stars called Shining Vale. Gus, thank you so much for being here with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing so good. Thank you for having me.
This is exciting. I love the show. Now, for people who have not watched Shining Vale, like I said, it is available on Stars. New episodes drop every Sunday. This past Sunday, episode 6 dropped.
Yes,
And before we get started, Gus, how many total episodes are in the first season?
there's eight, so there's two more, which is crazy. It feels like it's gone very fast,
It
but
has, it has. And it is a 30-minute show, which I really like because it is on a digital streaming network slash cable network, so there's no commercials. So as opposed to regular traditional shows that are on TV that are an hour where you only get 42 minutes worth of content, I like the 30-minute format. It works for this show. So I just want to lay that out. And guys, you're going to want to watch this show. It's a horror comedy. And when we go to the comedy part, I would say it's situational comedy. Would you agree with that?
oh yeah, definitely. It's weird. It is funny, but I actually feel like there's a lot of moments that have a lot of heart and depth and like darkness behind it.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Now, you play Gaynor, the oldest child of the Phelps family. What were your first impressions when you were told or you read what the family dynamics were like in the Phelps family?
I mean, definitely opposite of what I've grown up to know. My family, we're all very close and loving. There's like no cursing in our house. We're very PG. So when I was reading the scripts, I was like, oh my God, this is totally different than my upbringing. And I think that's kind of what appealed me to it. I think Gaynor is so awesome and just like somebody that can stand up for themselves and have that much gusto and passion and just I was so attracted to her, and I think I thought I wasn't right for it when I first read the script, and I was like, oh, there's no way that they would just physically how I look. I was like, no one's gonna take a chance on a
Yeah.
blonde, pale little. But no, I think it's been so fun to get to kind of have an alter ego side of myself, and that comes out.
You're perfect as Gaynor. Now, looking at the character, you've done a lot of various types of characters. Gaynor is a character that it looks like you can have a lot of fun playing. Compared to some of the other characters you have done, where does Gaynor sit? Do you really, really enjoy playing this character?
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, Jeff, who's the showrunner, Jeff Abstroff, he and I got very close, and he's so smart. And I think as the show went on, the writers, as they got to know me a little better, they also write to your personality and kind of add pieces of yourself into it, which is really fun. But no, she's a blast. I mean, I love her clothes. She has a great sense of humor, and yeah, I think she's not your typical teenager. She's very layered.
Very smart, very smart. I would put that at the top of the list. Now, let's go a little deeper into the family dynamics. Your character, Gaynor, meets a boy at school that you like. This boy's religious, and you sort of take on religion to impress the boy. Now that we're at episode 6, it is my impression from watching the show that you're not doing this for the boy anymore. This is something that you may want to latch onto. Do you agree with that?
Oh, totally. I think it's everything you said. I think she kind of went into it to piss off her mom and yeah, and fall into her old ways of trying to match the guy she likes. But I think she's actually taken aback at how it's making her reflect herself and her choices and where she's going with her life. And I think she wants to change, but it's kind of that nature versus nurture thing where it's like, is this personality and the person I'm destined to be in my blood, or can I change? Can it be someone else? And you'll have to see where she's going.
Exactly. Now, there was a very heart touching moment after you spend the weekend at your grandma's house, with which, by the way, is played by Judith Light. And it's really
Oh,
great to see.
she's so awesome.
It is so great to see Judith on the screen again. She plays your grandmother, and then you come back home, and Courtney Cox, who plays Pat, your mom, you come home and you give her, no words are spoken. You just give her this big hug. When you were acting out that scene and you were trying to convey the emotions, what were they? Were they, Mom, I'm so sorry for what you had to go through with your mother growing up? Was it, Mom, I appreciate you a lot more? As a backstory, as an actress trying to fill that scene, what was going through your head?
Oh, I think it's a lot of things. I think it's everything you said. I know there's not really one specific answer. I remember that scene was the last scene of the day, and it had been a really long day. And that moment meant so much to me reading it because it's like the first moment you see any kind of heart between the two of them.
Yeah,
That episode is so important because she does get an insight into her mom that she hasn't before. I think it's, yeah, I'm so sorry for everything you've gone through and also everything I've put you through. And also, it's kind of like, and I'm not going to stop. I'm still going to be difficult. Tomorrow, I'm going to wake up and yell at you and be, a pain in the ass.
yeah.
But I'm at this moment in time, I just want to say thank you. And I think that's what I love that moment.
Me too. I love that moment as well. Now, as we said, this show is horror comedy. I guess those are the two main subgenres we can place it in. You have done a lot of horror. You're one of the stars of the 2017 The Mist. What's it like doing this type of horror? And guys, this show is not scary. Don't think that it's scary. It's very fun. That's the best word I can use. But compared to some of the other stuff you've done, just the overall feel of a horror comedy, how does it feel on set?
I mean, I think it's perfect what you said. If it's fun, it's scary, but it's fun, and it was really fun to do. I mean, the house for the pilot, we actually shot in a real house that was this widow that lives there alone. I mean, that in itself should be like a documentary. But when the show got picked up and we started shooting it, they built the house again at the Warner Brothers lot, which was insane because it looks almost identical to that. Like every little marking on the wall, they did it so well, and it's huge. And so walking in there, you do get this creepy feeling like there is something else going on. And I mean, also the Warner Brothers lot is amazing, but
Yeah.
there's so much history there that in my head I'm like, there's got to be a ghost in this stage. But everybody got along so well, and there was an incredible feeling of just like a family, which I've done enough now to know that is it comes in waves, but it's rare when everybody meshes so well together.
It does. Now let's talk about some of your co-stars: Greg Kinnear, Courtney Cox. No strangers. They are very popular, very well known. Courtney, besides Friends, she's been a part of the Scream franchise. She's no stranger to horror either. So you mentioned that you guys meshed really well together right from the beginning. Is that how it went down? Did it take a little getting to know period before that happened?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I was so starstruck, and I still am getting past it, but I'm not being fake here. Like Little Miss Sunshine is slash was my favorite film. It still is. So it was like seeing Greg Kinnear in person, and the first scene we shot all together was in a car, and he was driving me, and I was like, I am in a car with Greg Kinnear right now. I am Olive. I am living my dream. And so that was really cool. But and then Courtney, of course, I've watched every episode of Friends like about a zillion times, and so but they are such humans and down to earth and immediately take you in and like make you feel at home. And what was great was I had Dylan, who plays my brother.
Yeah.
Both of us are kind of starting out in this career in this world, and so to have somebody that kind of we could look at each other and be like, oh my god, yeah, we're going through this together, and that was really special.
Now, talking about Dylan, he plays your brother Jake. You gotta love Jake as a character, and I gotta give credit to the writers because you guys are brother and sister. I have three teenagers, and they really don't talk to each other. And I like how that is actually very well portrayed realistically on the show. I don't think you and Dylan have a single piece of dialogue together, do you?
No, and we used to talk about that because it's like, we were very good friends. So I know we don't speak. There is some stuff coming up that I think you will see us interact, but no, and up until this point you haven't really seen us have anything.
And then we have Roxy, the dog. I think Roxy is definitely the fifth member of the family. That dog has a mind of its own, and it's been involved in so many crucial scenes. Is there like a special dog handler to make the dog react the way it does on set and all that?
Well, she is her dad. That's what I'm going to call him. He's always like every time we do a scene, he's across the camera and she makes direct eye contact with him. And if she can't see him, if he's not in her line of vision, she'll start screaming and running around. But that dog is the star of the show. She steals the show, and everybody knows it. I mean, it's just it might as well be called Shining Roxy. So there you go.
Absolutely. So let's talk about when it comes to doing your scenes and being directed. Do you feel the director, the showrunner, which you mentioned, they give all you guys leeway to explore your characters?
Yeah, I think, because it was only half an hour, the more episodes we did, that's the luxury of doing a TV show rather than doing, even just a film. Like you have time to figure stuff out and discover what you want to do with them. And like as you can have an idea of a character, but as the season goes on, they mesh and they change and they evolve. And so I think really having a personal relationship with Jeff, I would go to his house for dinner and like we talk about stuff, and he was kind of like a father figure. He might
Yeah.
hate that I'm saying that, but I think that really helped me figure out this character and what I wanted to bring of myself into it. And yeah, it's all about the people doing a job like this.
Is this your first dive into a comedic role?
I mean, actually, really, I don't think I'm funny at all. I think if I'm funny, it's because I'm awkward and I've fallen. But like in real life, I'm not trying to be. But no, I've done like a lot of comedy little parts here and there, and I love doing them. They're much harder than I think people give them credit to be,
Yeah.
and when you're trying to be funny. So watching Greg and Courtney, who are like a master in this, who can say a line that's written one way that you're like, that's funny, and then they say it 10 different ways, and each way is funny in its own specific way. It really helped me grow and change and figure out like, oh, there's actually some technique behind this. So yeah.
Now, I've heard this a lot, especially with TV shows, as each episode goes on, and you touched on this as well. The writers write around the actor's strength. So, have you noticed the writers with the dialogue that they're giving you is making you really be funny? Because you are tremendously funny on the show. It's because the writers are getting to know you and they're working around your strength.
I think so. Yeah. I think, they maybe see like what kind of thing I play into and yeah, right around that. I know this is less about what you just said, but I in the sixth episode I got to sing, and that kind of came about because Jeff saw on my Instagram that I sang and I talked about it. And so writing stuff like that into it is, I don't know, it's like yeah, it's a part of getting to know someone, and yeah, that was really special.
Now you do have a scene, so two scenes where we hear you sing. I assume that was not you. Is that really you singing?
That was me,
Oh
yes.
my God! Wow, you have a beautiful voice. That's amazing. I really, oftentimes they dub a voiceover, but oh my God, I did not know that. That's fascinating. Now, Gaynor is a character, you're not afraid to speak your mind. You're a strong young woman. You have wit. Like I said, you're very, very intelligent. Uh, you said it's opposite of how you were brought up with your family, how Gaynor is very disrespectful to your parents. Uh, are there any traits of Gaynor that you, Gus Birney, could relate to?
I think weirdly, like her, you wouldn't describe her as soft at all, but I
Mm-mm.
think there's this, no. But underneath it all, I do think she's very sensitive and yes, there aren't a lot of scenes with her and her brother, but I think she would do anything for him, and honestly, anything for both of her parents. Like, I think it's the kind of thing she can take her stuff out on them, but if anyone else tried to, she'd beat them up. And I feel like that's the same with my family,
Very protective.
very protective. I'm very protective of, I have a brother and both my parents, and they're my best friends. And so what's so great about the show is that the family dynamic is everything. And I think that's the heart of the show. And I think it's represented really well that even though there's so much chaos, there is so much love underneath it all. It's just sometimes love brings chaos.
Exactly. As the episodes, we have 2 episodes left in this first season. Hopefully, we're going to get more seasons. Are you hoping that the layers of Gaynor get peeled back and we start to find out what's more at the core of this character?
Yeah, I definitely think, especially in this next one that's coming up, you do see a much more vulnerable side of her. And hopefully, if the show goes on to like kind of where it's left, you would get to see her grow and expand. And she does a lot of there. She has a whole arc, and I think by the last 2 episodes, you see it all come to fruition.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of, there's a lot of F bombs dropped on the show by Courtney, by yourself. It's hysterical. It's very well placed. Now, do you think Gaynor is a product? Is she very similar to her mom? And is that what kind of is pissing her off? That her and her mom are so similar? Is her smartass attitude a product of her being raised by a mom like Courtney Cox, who loves her child? But, you know, let me put it to you this way. I can relate to Courtney Cox's character. As a dad, I can relate. I drop, in casual way the F bombs with my kids. They're teenagers. I'm like, it's nothing they haven't heard at school. So I can sort of relate with Courtney Cox's character. And I know that makes me sound really bad, but do you think, Gaynor is a product of her upbringing, and that's what makes her such a smartass? Also gave her wit and the ability to be strong.
Oh, absolutely. That was kind of my goal, honestly. I really wanted everybody to see Courtney so much in my character, and that, like, the reason they don't get along is because they are so similar. And it's like she's just fighting every urge to not be her mom, and that only makes her more like her mom. And I know from when I was auditioning for the show, my callback was reading with Courtney, and I think they wanted to make sure that we had that similarity. And as I watch it, I hope that that comes off. But yeah, they are exactly alike, but also incredibly difficult. So there's no way they'd ever see it. And yeah.
Now, the family dynamic is sort of the main star of the show. All of you guys combined together as a family unit is the actual star of the show. When you were auditioning with Courtney, Greg, Dylan, did they have you guys do any kind of a chemistry read with each other?
Yeah, well, what's crazy was it was during like the heat of the pandemic, and I did a tape, I self-taped, and then I just got a call back and I read with Courtney over Zoom, and then I didn't read with anybody else. So the first day I got there to shoot was like the day I met Greg and I met Dylan. And I think it was kind of banking on, yeah, us all kind of meshing and it working. But I think it did. It's crazy how that can happen.
Yeah. It just sort of falls into place. I don't want to give too much stuff away in spoilers. But the baptism scene, again, very critical to your character. That's not something Gaynor would do to impress a boy. That's what really sold me that this is something that she wants to latch onto and wants to believe. If you had a choice, would you like to see Gaynor continue on this path that she's on right now?
You know, I think this is a good chapter of her life. I don't think it should become her life. I think this needed to happen for her to look at her self and reevaluate some of the choices she's made. But do I think she should go down a path of like, strictly religion and cut out? No, because I think she has too much
Yeah,
passion and all this going on underneath it. But I think this was a necessary chapter in her life. And you'll see what it brings about.
exactly. And I think, I know you can't answer this, but I think the writers are really setting us up with your path, with, the baptism, the religion, and then what Courtney is going through in the house. Is it a ghost? Is it a demon? We still don't know. Things are leaning towards it being more malevolent. But I think the writers are setting us up with your character and your mom's character, Courtney, coming together in some kind of a big showdown. I know you can't answer that, but I'm really looking forward to see how that all plays out. Gus, I want to thank you so much for being on here. This has been great. You're doing fantastic on the show, as are your co stars. Guys, again, the show is called Shining Vale. New episodes drop every Sunday on Stars. Check it out. If you start binging it, you could literally finish it in a day. It's 30-minute episodes, and you won't be disappointed. There's been no official word yet on a renewal for a season 2, right?
Not officially, but let's hope it's happening.
Let's hope it happens. Gus, thank you so much. Any final thoughts you want to share before we go?
Oh no, just thank you so much for having me. And yeah, watch Shining Vale.
Absolutely, guys. Watch Shining Vale. Again, thank you to my guest, Gus Birney. Thank you to all you guys who are tuning in live or are going to be watching this later on. On behalf of Gus and myself, stay safe and stay walking. Bye, everybody.